Welcome to this eighth and the final session of Sri Hanuman Chalisa. Let us start with the gratitude to the Lord and this Guru Shishya Parampara, and my pranams to Guruji, my Guruji Pujya Guruma, with whose grace I am able to learn the scriptures and pass on this understanding and share this with you all. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So these sessions have been possible because of this book by Pawan Kumar Mishra called Living Hanuman, which is a journey from selfie to the self. The main purpose of Sri Hanuman Chalisa in its 40 chopais and 3 dohas is to become one with the universal consciousness, and that is the ultimate goal of our human life, to dissolve our individuality into and merge it into the eternal divine consciousness. And this is the only one goal for all of us, which is called the moksha, or the freedom from all these worldly afflictions, miseries, pain, samsara chakra, births, deaths, everything. By knowing our own self is called the Atma Jnana. And there will be many ways to reach this goal. Many sadhanas are described in our scriptures like Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Gnana Nishtha. All these sadhanas are there, but ultimately it is the goal is the moksha, and that is only available and possible through Atma Jnana. So in this journey of ourselves, we have to take ownership of our own journey of life. May it be an outward journey, the worldly journey, or the inner journey, which is a spiritual journey. The main person who is going to make a difference is my own self, and that's why I have to take the responsibility of this change. Hanuman Chalisa achieves this balance between these lives and tries to merge both these lives, so that whatever understanding that we get on this spiritual path, we can use it in our worldly life and try and merge both our lives. For a seeker who is on the path of ascent, Hanuman Chalisa is invaluable towards self-realization, and this person who is awake to human values like love, compassion, contentment, gratitude and joy, which are the sattvic gunas or the sattva guna. We start with the 34th shloka. Antakala Raghubar Pur Jai Jahan Janma Hari Bhakta Kahai. So Antakala is the end stage of the life, and where we can reach Raghubarapura, that is the Ram's home. Vaikuntha, Ram, as you all know, is a avatar of Vishnu, and that's why his home is Vaikuntha. When the individual consciousness will be merged with the divine consciousness by dissolution of the ego, and this is also called moksha. Jaha Janma Hari Bhakta Kahai means where we are again born as devotees of the Lord. When the Lord takes incarnation, all these devotees who are there in the Brahmaloka, in the Vaikuntha, Swargaloka, this will be born just like gopis were born when Krishna took birth on these earthly plains. So gopis were all these Rishi Munis who wanted to be with Krishna and be with him. They were born along with Shri Krishna. Antakala is the end stage of our life, for which we all must prepare, because that is the only certainty of this life. And if there is something which is very certain, why we should not prepare for it? The only uncertainty is when that Antakal will come. Nobody knows, nobody can predict that, nobody can know, and that's why we should not think unnecessarily about when it will come. But we should prepare by being aware in each moment of our life that human life is a finite life, and that's why we have to be conscious of the time that we have and the time that we spend. How do we spend this time? So we should try our best to live as much as in the present moment, mindfully, with awareness, without thinking of too much of the past, carrying the baggage of the past, or thinking and being anxious and stressful or fearful about the future, but living more in the present moment in each moment. Time management is also very, very important. We have to prioritize our time for ourselves, our family, and spend as much quality time as possible. Introspection, self-assessment towards our goal of life, towards the direction that we are going, what is our progress been, what are the obstacles, how can we overcome these obstacles. All these are the questions that we need to ask during self-introspection. The time wasters that we all seldom use, the TV, the social media, mobile phones, we should try to use this as a minimum so that we can utilize our rest of the time for our upliftment, our improvement. And we should give as much as selfless love as we can to others. And when the end stage actually comes, we should not cling to this end stage of the life. Just for example, in a plane journey, when the plane comes to the halt, and even before the seatbelt sign is turned off, most of the people would want to get up. They want to get out of the plane at the end of the journey. Similarly, at the end of the life, we should also not cling for onward journey, or cling to life, but we should gracefully exit. And if this life is lived well, at the end stage, the Antakal also can be very well. So live life. Our scriptures tell us to live life as we want to end the life. Meaning, in Bhagavad Gita also, Shri Krishna says, Antakale cha mameva. Means when you do Nama Smarana of Bhagavan, we have to do it all throughout our life, and then only it will be cha, means end. So that will happen at the end stage of life only if we have done it all throughout our life. So if we have lived this life in Nam Smarana, then it is possible that at the end of the life we will remember the Lord's name, and then we will get a better onward journey. And if whole of our life is lived in all these sensual pleasures, the bhoga, then at the end of the life we will have the same thoughts, and that is how our onward gati or our onward journey also will be similar. So Yaksha once asked Yudhishthira, what is the most Ascharyajanak, bewilderment that you see in this world? And Yudhishthira replied that people live as if they are never going to die, and they die one day as they have never lived their life. So this is the biggest Ascharya. We have to be aware about our certainty of life, and we have to take control of our life in our hands so that our life does not go astray, and we can have proper worthy goals which preferably be written down, and then we create an actionable goal so that we can reach our goals. And the fear of death, which is called abhinivesha, which is also at the root of many other fears of diseases and other problems, anxieties, lot of anxieties. So this we need to tackle. If somebody has this fear, then this has to be managed, and finally we can become completely fearless by only understanding our Atma Swarupa, our Atma, our real Swarupa, which is neither born nor dies, which is Najayate, Namriyate, Vakadachita. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna has described this. What are we? Actual Swarupa. So we should devote as much time as Satkarma, Punya, Gnana Sadhana, and try to achieve Moksha, which is ultimately the goal for all human life. Aur devata chitta na dharai, Hanumata se sarva sukha karai. So in this 36th shloka it says, don't think of any other devta, only one point of concentration or focus must be kept on Hanumanji in the mind all the time. And Hanuman says, Sarva Sukha Karai. Hanuman will give us all the sukhas, all the joys, pleasures of life, may it be mental, physical, emotional, all the kinds of sukha is able to give us. So Devatas, gods, it is said that in India there are almost 33 crore Devatas, but that's not true. There are 33 categories or kotis of Devata in our Indian scriptures. So these are the 8 Vasus, the 11 Rudras, 12 Adityas, 1 Indra and 1 Prajapati. And though there are so many Devatas, deities, idols in our scriptures, our scriptures tell us to decide one Ishtadev where we have maximum faith, and then to concentrate or devote on one God for all our sadhana. Because sadhana cannot be done with different deities in mind. We have to have faith in one of the deities. Somebody may have faith in Krishna, somebody may have faith in Shiva, somebody may have faith more in Hanuman, somebody may have it in in Ganesha. So they can select the deity. Somebody may have more faith in the Mataji, so they can select and then devote and worship them. Even for the Nastika, Na Astika means one who does not believe in our scriptures. One is also called an atheist, or is a person who is a scientific minded or a rationalist, as we call them. Hanumana also helps them also. And self-realization can occur even without God. This is what Swami Rama, who lived in the Himalayas, has written a book, Himalayan Masters, which is a famous book in which he has mentioned that for self-realization to occur, we don't need God. Even somebody doesn't believe in God, he can have a self-realization. So the focus of the mind, or the concentration which is talked about in these mantra, is also very important, because these days we have many technologies which can take away our focus immediately. And first and foremost is the mobile phone, the televisions, the computers, the internet. And that's why we must try and learn to avoid multitasking, because our brains are not created, not made for multitasking. They are made to do one task at a time, and that's why we should do it well. And the types of happiness are outer, bahya. These are the the happiness that we have with the indriya and the sparsha. Bahya, indriya, sparsha, with the objects, indriya arthan. Jo bhi bahar ka sukh hai, it is all bahya sukha or outer sukha or pleasures is all transient. Adyantavanta. In Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna says, Adyantavanta nateshu ramate buddhaha. Means the wise people don't go into these sense pleasures because they are all very transient. And the inner sukha, the inner antar sukha, that is the the atma sukha, it is the one of the finest sukhas. We'll talk about that later. So sensual pleasures are very transient, and there are many. Nature can give us happiness, good news can give us happiness, but these are all outer happiness. The real happiness is in our own mind. That is what our Upanishads tell us. Yoga sadhana can help us to feel, to experience that inner happiness, inner pleasure, inner sukha. And Bhagavad Gita says, Ashantasya kutah sukham. If somebody is not peaceful, shanti nahi hai, to they will not get any happiness. And that's why shanti and sukha, they are both considered as one. And both are inside according to our scriptures. It is not that sukha is outside and shanti is inside. What we normally believe, that's not, is what told by our scriptures. So Shastras tell us that the real bliss is inside, which is called Param Shanti. And this Bhagavad Gita 4th Adhyay, Nachirena Digachati, Param Shanti, Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna has talked about these Param Shanti many times, that this is all inside us, and only with this Gnana. And even in the 6th Adhyay, in the Dhyana Sadhana, he has talked about this Param Shanti, how we can achieve this, how we can remain in this Prashantasya Kutah Sukham. So all these we can understand by. So going to the 36th shloka, Sankat kate vite sab pira, jo sumirai hanumat balbira. So Sankat mitai kate sab pira, all the difficulties, crisis comes to an end. Even the emotional and the physical pains. For one who constantly remembers, who sumiran karta hai, jo powerful, intelligent, balabira, Hanuman. So for them, all the difficulties are destroyed. So Sattva Guna is the important guna from all the three gunas that this samsara is made up of, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And Bhagavad Gita also tells us to remain firmly sthit in the Sattva Guna, Nitya Sattvasto Arjuna. He tells, Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhava Arjuna. Nitya Sattvasto. Nitya, you remain in the Sattva Guna and you become Trigunatita. You go over these, transcend all these three gunas and the samsara. Sattva Guna is a guna which has, all these good qualities like love, peace, contentment, giving, donations, all these, and japa, swadhyaya and study of our scriptures help us to obtain this Sattva Guna. Srimad Bhagavad, Bhagavad Gita, all these Updesha, and it shows, all these helps us to attain this Sattva Guna, and the essence of all these Updesha is the moksha. Medical science today, science also has shown that the cellular memory of the past experiences, which is important because this, if it gets deranged, it can also lead to diseases. And constant japa improves this cellular immunity of ours, improves the health, even the mental health, our memory, and all these, it can even prevent or delay Alzheimer's disease, the degenerative disease of the mind, So that's why all this is important. And this journey, we must do it with awareness. Whatever we do in our daily life, maybe it be, we should do it with awareness. Sumirana means to remember the Lord. Nama Smarana. In Kali Yuga, it is considered to be the easiest way to worship the Lord. Constantly have His Nama Smarana, Nama in our mouth, and that's how we can remain connected to the Lord. In crisis management, in difficulties, in krodha, anger, we can achieve this peace of mind by connecting with our breath, and through this we can quieten our mind, remember the name of the Lord. And whoever does this, Sumire, Balabira, Hanuman, is definitely going to help them. We must remember the past. We should not remember the past and become sad and understand. We should not think about the future and have fears, but we should, understand and remember constantly that this is the Guhya, Atma Gnana, that our self is nothing but it is limitless, it is unborn, it is, we have already had an amnesia of our own self, and we have to get out of this and understand this Guhya Uttamatamam Atma Gnana. Jaya 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 Hanuman Gosai, Rupa Karahu Guru Deva Kinai. So Gosai means, Go means Indriya and Sai means Sanyam. So Indriya Sanyam, Hanumanji already had a lot of Indriya Sanyam, because Indriya are very powerful, and Pranavayu is the one that controls all our functions of the body, but Indriya Sanyam is the most important. Krupa Karahu Guru Deva Kinai, because it's a grace of the Guru. The Guru Shishya Parampara is important because the knowledge is transmitted, and just like this, the grace of the Guru is also very important. The grace of the Guru Parampara is also very important if we have to obtain this Atma Gnana. It is said that the Guru is a very important person in the spiritual scriptures. Our Upanishads tell us that without this Guru, we cannot obtain this Atma Gnana. And Guru itself, the word itself means Gu and Ru. They dispel the darkness and give us the light of knowledge. They show us the way so that we can walk on that way and obtain the Atma Gnana. And there are 6 different types of Guru. One is the Prerak, who inspires the students. Second is the Suchak, that points out different. The third is the Vachaka, explainer. Fourth is the Darshaka, the revealer. Fifth is the Shikshaka, who teaches. And sixth is the Bodhaka, who gives teachings or Uddesha. And Guru, by this, all this lights the lamp of that desire, that ignites the lamp of Jignasa, our desire to learn, and the lamp of knowledge. 38th shlokas. Jo sat bar paat kar koi, chhoot hi bandi maha sukh hoi. So, jo satbar paat kar koi, anyone who does part with 100 times. Satbar means it can mean 100 times, or it can mean sata means truly. One who does with true understanding the meaning of the shlokas, and does recitation of Sri Hanuman Chalisa. Chhutahi bandi mahasukha hoi. He gets liberated from all these bondages and gets eternal bliss of his own self. And this bondage is the raga dvesha, created by these 3 gunas of the Prakriti, in which the jiva undergoes moha, gets attached to this, and that's how he creates his bondage. So from there we have to gradually come out from Raja and Tamagun into the Sattva guna. Santosha is Param Sukham, and then finally we have to get Trigunatita, we have to transcend all these 3 gunas and go to our Atma Gnana. So this Mahasukha, that intense or inner bliss or divine bliss or eternal bliss, can only be obtained by touching our Atma Swarup. And otherwise, if the Antakarana is not Shuddha, it is like wearing glasses and searching for glasses, and we roam in the world and beg for pleasures from outside, which are all transient pleasures, but we should, try to look for it inside. So we study too many subjects in the world in our life, but we don't study what mind is and how to train our mind, because mind needs to be trained, it needs to be managed properly. Otherwise this life is a waste, because it's only through our mind and this body-mind complex that we can go and touch our Atma Swarupa, but we need to train our mind for this. Otherwise this bondage, Maya, Dvanda and Avidya will persist. So it is said that our heart is bonded in this rib cage, and that is also bondage for the heart. And the liberation, let go, attachments, to be free, we have to do let go. And it is said that there are many layers that bind us, and we have to get released from these layers to come to our core Atma Swarupa, or our Atma, the Prakash or the Jyoti, that is the consciousness. We have to reach there. The 5 koshas that bind us, one is the Annamaya kosha, that is our Stula Sharira. Then there is a Pranamaya kosha, the Manomaya kosha, and the Gnanamaya kosha, which are the 3 parts of our Sukshma Sharira, the mind, the intellect, and the Prana. And the 5th is the Anandamaya kosha, that is the Karana Sharira, which is the Agnan, which gives us this Sushuptika Ananda. So these are the 5 koshas, which are the sheaths that envelop us, and we have to release them to go to the Atma Swarupa and transcend all this. So these are the things that keep us in bondage, and we have to remove or get over past all this. Relationships is one of the main causes of bondage in our day-to-day life, because of expectations, because of our ego, because of jealousy, and because of anger. These are the 4 main problems that every day we face in and out, which creates a lot of stress, unnecessary anxieties, our expectations from others, which people can never fulfill, and that's why it creates a lot of anxieties and stress. Our ego, that I should do anything like this, our jid, agraha, duragraha, obsessions, convictions, our strong sense of ownership and jealousy with others, anger creates a lot of problems with others. But relations can be beautiful if we live out of love, compassion, faith, dignity, caution, awareness, and we give without expectations. Even breakup of relationships can be very dignified, and ultimately for self-liberation we need jignasa. We have to let go of all these lust, vasana, desires, by scrutinizing these desires, by seeing what are essential, what are not essential, by taking out all the lustful or ashuddha desires, and this by understanding we have to let go, and then we have to reach to our real Atma Swarupa, which is the Sat, Chit and the Ananda. 39th shloka says, Jo yah padhe Hanuman Chalisa, hoy siddhi sakhi gaurisa. So one who reads properly with understanding, with its various meanings, awareness of this Tattva, the Sakshi, which is the eternal, giving more than taking, do not neglect any of our duties, and we don't have any laziness in the Swadhyaya. So one who does this kind of practice, one who does this kind of study, self-study, hoya siddhi sakhi gaurisa, there is a radical transformation, and from seeker he becomes a siddha, siddhi. So siddha purusha means he becomes an adept, he becomes perfected in the yoga. And sakhi gaurisa, sakhi word means sakshi, so it's a kind of an awareness. It is the purusha or the shiva, which is like a movie screen where all the pictures keep moving. So it is the adhisthana on which everything keeps moving. And Sakhi means an companion. Gaurisa stands for Ma Parvati. She is a life force, and it's the drama of the Maya, the Prakriti, on which comes on this movie screen, and it is played on this screen. So it keeps changing. But Sakhi Gaurisa means Aikya, between the Shiva and the Parvati. And both of them are part of each other. They are considered Ardhanginis also. And it is the understanding that our Atma is Asanga and Yoga is the Chitta Vritti Nirodha. The Mana has to be very shant, tranquil, and only with this clear mind we can see the reflection of this consciousness. We can see our real Swarupa with this tranquil mind only. And many of these layers of Shadripu, these Ashuddhis, we have to let go, so that we can reach to our Sakshi Ananda Swarupa, which is the Parama Ananda Brahma. And Chalisa helps us by its dynamic, and these 40 shlokas help us because our life is full of movements. Information alone is not important. We have to assimilate this knowledge into our own self by Manana, which takes care of all the Sanshaya or the doubts by Yukti, logic, and Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana means it takes care of all the Viparyayas, the Viparit Sanskaras, by Vedantic meditation, what is called as Nididhyasana. So whatever we have done Shravana, Vedanta Vakyas from the Guru Mukha, we have to do manana and then nididhyasana to ultimately reach to the jnana sadhana. So this is the entire jnana sadhana. And in this 40th and the last shloka says, Tulsi dasa sada hari chera कीजे नाथ हृदय महडेरा. So Tulsidasa, who has written Ramcharitamānasa, so Tulsidas is always, Sada Hari Chera is always in the service of the Lord, and he represents all the plant forms on the earth, and his service to the Lord also represents his surrender bhavana, which is called Ishwararpana bhavana, which is also one of the attitudes of Karma Yoga. Wherever we do karma, we have to do it with a Ishwararpana bhava, surrender to the Lord. So karma plus bhakti becomes karma yoga. Kije Natha Hridaya Mahadera, means Supreme Being resides in their hearts all the time as an Antaryami. And Ha, the Dhatu, means take away. So Hari, when we say Hari, Hari means he Hara, the Papa. So Vishnu or Bhagwan is called Hari. And Hara is the name for Shiva because he also takes away all the impurities and Papa. Rim is the name of Ma. So all these start with the Hara Dhatu Ha because it signifies taking away. The formless Supreme is Sarvagnya, Sarvashaktimana, it's Sarvavyapaka. And Hari in English means to destroy. Whereas Hari means impatience in English, hasten. And all of us are very, very impatient today. We all want everything very quickly, very rapidly. We don't have to wait. And that's why should be our endeavor to go from Hari. We should go towards Hari. Hari means Bhagwan. Hari means the Lord. So from Hari we have to go to Hari, and that is where we have to go. And Hanuman is soaked in the Hari, and he is the eternal servant of the Hari. And that's what the Hanuman Chalisa teaches us. Kije Natha Hridaya Mahadera. Means Shankara says that heart is the epicenter of emotions, and it is the heart chakra, which in our yoga Shastra says it is the Anahata chakra, where there is a place for the compassion, daya, donation, to give as much as possible, because Hridaya, Re means take and Daya means Daya, compassion, to give. So this is the meaning of Hridaya. And Hridaya also does the same function. It takes impure blood from the entire body, it cures the blood and supplies this blood to the entire body. So our prayer to the Lord should be that, oh God, please come and live in my heart. Of course, He is already there, but we have to know that, we have to realize that God is the Antaryami of all of us, and serve the universe. God lives in us. With this, we have to serve the universe, and we have to see God in other beings also. So let's come to the last doha, that is the third doha, which is the final doha. Pavanatanaya Sankat Harana Mangal Murti Ru Rama Lakhan Sita Hridaya Basahur Surahu. So Pavanatanaya is the son of the wind. Hanumanji himself is the son of the wind god. He is the breath. He is in all of us as the Prana Shakti, as our breath. And that's why to connect to Hanuman is very easy. If we connect to our breath, we can connect instantly to Hanuman. Sankata Harana takes away all our miseries. Mangala Murati Roop. His form is very divine, Mangala, very auspicious, very pious, very beautiful. The Roop Murti. Rama Lakhana Sita Hridaya Basahu Sura Bhupa. So along with Rama, Sita, Lakshmana, they all three, they live within me. Ultimate goal is to be one with the God, and it is said that the spiritual heart is on the right side, which is the seat of all the transcendental self. It is a place where we can feel the bliss. It is also called the Hridaya Guha, where yogis keep meditating there on their heart, Hridaya Guha. And our Shuddha Aham, our Shuddha Sakshi Aham is also located there, and it's a bridge between the finite body mind to the infinite consciousness. And God lives in us, Antaryami, as Antaryami in our hearts. So this is not the physical heart, but this is a spiritual heart that is talked about in our scriptures. Mangala Murati Roop means we should try to feel God in our hearts. Mangala, because it will take away all the negative emotions and give us more positive vibrations like Shanti, Kshama, forgiveness, peace of mind. And Murti means idol worship. But idol worship is not just we are worshipping the idol. We are worshipping the prana pratishta which has been done inside. So it's the consciousness of the Lord which is already there in the Murti, and then the stone becomes the God, and that's how we worship this. So people who think that we just worship the idol, it is not like that. It is the consciousness within the idol that we worship. And Saguna Puja is also a very important part of our spiritual undertaking, because God is in all the beings, and that is what we have to see. Initially we have to see it in the idol, then we have to see it in our being and all the beings that contain, and then we have to see the oneness in all this, and finally we have to see God everywhere. So that is what, of course, Nirguna, Nirakar, Brahma or Atma or Chaitanya, that kind of worship is even more difficult for most people, because directly going to the Nirguna is difficult, and that's why most of us need this support of the Saguna, and from Saguna we have to go towards the Vishwarupa and then finally towards the Nirguna. So that is ultimately the goal, to have oneness with this Almighty Divinity and have attain then Aikya, oneness by this knowledge. So Hanuman Chalisa basically in our Vedic Parampara teaches us to see oneness in all these discriminations, differences, and this we have to see the connection between everything, and this can only be seen if we have our vision is on the Adhisthana, a vision is on the Karana rather than the Karya, because in Karya there are different forms and different colors, different Rupa, different shapes, all these are there in the Karya, but in the Karana, the Adhisthana is one. So if you have a vision like that, we can identify with Abheda, the oneness amongst all the differences. But science, as we learn all our life, identifies with more Prithvaka. Prithvaka means it does Bheda, it does discriminations and explains us different parts. So it makes different parts from the whole, whereas our spirituality creates one from all the parts. So the process has to be reversed, and that's how it's very difficult for us, because that's not how we have been trained or we have learned all these things so far. That's why it looks more like difficult for us. Rama, Lakhana, Sita, Sahita. So along with all these who are the creator, the remainder, the creation, everyone. And Sura Bhupa means the Devta king Indra. Hanuman is like Indra here. And that's why the Hanuman Chalisa, it actually starts with the mind, the Nija Mana Mukura Sudharu, and ends with the heart. So we have to transform our heart, and we have to be one with the Shiva and the Shakti, be one with this universal eternal consciousness. That is the ultimate goal of human life. The benefits, 4 parts of Antakarana Shuddhi. As you know, there are 4 parts of the man. Pavana Tanaya, the breath control, helps us to calm down our mind and to purify our mind. Sankata Harana, fear in the intellect. So Buddhi, we have to purify. Mangala Murti, Rupa Chitta is purified. And Sura Bhupa, our Ahankar, our surrender to the divine, we have to purify. And then Hanuman, who lives in our heart all the time, we have to feel him always with us. That is the goal of our life, Namasmarana. Not just that Hanuman is a character which, in one of our epics like Ramayana, but he is like, we have to live like Hanuman. All his qualities we have to Smarana, remember, and we have to live like a Hanuman. So that should be our goal, that we become egoless self like Hanuman, which resonates, which merges, which dissolves in this universal self and becomes one with that. So with this we come to the end of the 8th and the final session of Hanuman Chalisa. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Hanuman.